A good one, Creep.
I gotta have some type of humor.
Yo, 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 what up, what up? Welcome to another episode of It's Just My Opinion, a podcast. It's your boy XI.
It's your boy Creep Social.
And we got a special guest in the
Very
building.
special.
You know what I'm saying? My family, you know what I'm saying? My heart. Somebody that man, look, we could talk for hours,
Ooh.
but we finna jump right into this woman that is a beautiful woman inside out. A mother, a wife, educated. What else you want? I could keep going. I don't want to brag on you. You know what I'm saying? Let them know who you are.
Greetings. I am Dr. Domynique Jazmen Smith, and I am honored to be here on In Your Opinion podcast with my wonderful cousin as well as his host.
Yeah.
Thank you all for allowing me to join you on this
Hey,
platform.
thank you for being here.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna lie. This this the first time I've been around in a minute, and somebody else's spirit just bring me up.
Facts.
Aw,
Like
thank
seriously,
you.
like I could tell that it's good energy. It's like you're a great person. And I'm just not meeting and talking to this lady, but she came in there smiling. She came in here greeting everybody, and it's love.
Yeah,
Like,
facts.
for real. We appreciate you coming over here and sliding.
Yeah, taking
and talking
time
to us.
out of your busy
taking
schedule.
time out of your day.
You know, look at the y'all see the screen. Y'all see the screen. Y'all see the screen. Y'all see she doing big things. So let's jump right in.
Yes,
You know, you from Chicago.
facts.
Englewood, to be specific.
Englewood.
Born and
Inglewood.
raised. Yes.
Born and raised.
What block?
67th and Parnell.
Oh.
So
I
what
know
was
some-
what was growing up in Inglewood like for you?
A rich experience. And when I say a rich experience, I'm not talking money. I mean, rich in experience. What you would expect growing up in Englewood. You get the good, you get the bad. You know, you're exposed to things that prepare you for life. Blessed to come from a family that stood on top of me and that encouraged me to be great, that pushed for education. You know, we grew up with foundation. I grew up with the expectation of going to school, being a lady, carrying myself a certain type of way, being loyal, you know, being a great family person. So while I was exposed to the many things, the traumas, you know, the violence, the things that people often highlight in Englewood, I was also exposed to wonderful things such as community being family. So Englewood, you know, they have this bad rep, and I'm not going to fake as if some of these things have not taken place in that community. But what I can say is my experience in Englewood was exactly what I said, rich. The neighbors, they were family.
Yeah.
The girls that, you know, grew up in the neighborhood, they were family. And my parents and my grandmother, rest in peace, Grandma Cookie,
Rest in
you know,
peace.
opened their doors and their you know, households and the lots, as we call it, because
Yeah.
those who grew up
Yeah.
in Englewood in our area, they know about the building.
Yep.
And that building was open to all children. And I want to share one very unique experience growing up in Englewood.
Shit, a lot of them.
So my dad has always been big on love and creating family, right? Not limiting it to those of your bloodline, right?
Facts.
So I can remember this one time in particular where he came and there were probably like 100 pair of shoes, right? I ain't getting in nobody business about where those shoes came from. I don't know if that time he bought them from somebody that hit the tracks or if that time he went to the store. But what I want to share about this unique experience is that time, by the time I made it, there was only one pair of shoes. It was a pair of Jordans. There was only one pair left in my size by the time I made it. My daddy gave them away
Oh.
to a kid that he didn't know, to a kid that I didn't know.
Right.
And I wanted to fight my daddy.
I wanted them shoes.
I probably would. Not probably. I knew I couldn't win, but I wanted to fight my daddy. Because how dare you give a stranger a pair of Jordans when your own daughter won them?
Right?
Your own honor roll. Like, I've always been an honor roll student. You know, this mouth and this attitude and sitting still may have always been a problem. However, I've always been an honor roll student. And I can remember being filled with rage and anger with my dad. And I can remember telling him, I'm not talking to you. And he said, well, I'll talk to my other kids. You'll get over it. And I thought that was abuse. Like, I felt like that was abuse. Like, what about my mental health? What about that stuff didn't exist. These parents, they ain't play that, depressed to your bedroom.
The mics is important, man, coming up, man. Especially in Chicago, the mics are important to have. So
but I didn't have them. I had to go to school without these shoes, and they hadn't been released yet.
Got you.
And I didn't have them. So when I decided to talk to my dad, and he decided to talk back, he told me, I said, how dare you? He said, how dare you? He said, go to your room and count your shoes. I said, I'm not how many shoes do you have? I said, I don't know, a lot. I don't know. He said, how many shoes you think she have?
Yeah, that's real. That's real right there.
And I barely understood it, but even at that age, it did. It hit a place in me. It wasn't until years later that it truly marinated and helped turn me into the woman that I am today, as far as giving away and community outreach and making sure that I'm there for those who need it.
Yeah. So I'm glad you just said that, because I've seen you do many events like back to school drive, toy drive, food giveaway. Do you feel that experience that you had with your father encouraged you to go on to do these different things, or did he set the blueprint for you to start doing these things?
I was gonna ask you that too, in a sense, like how important is giving back?
Giving back is everything. It's a part of what we're created to do.
Gotcha.
It's a part of what I was created to do, for sure.
I ain't gonna take back from his question, but you know.
So I have to say that experience, and the reason I shared it is because I think that it did set the foundation. It was just a piece of the many pieces that set the foundation for me being a woman who gives back to my communities. Like I said, growing up in Englewood, it was different. This time period that I'm experiencing now versus the way it was then, where the neighbors paid attention to the other people's kids, and where the aunties and the grandmas were not just your aunties and grandmas, but they auntied and they grandma and they fathered the entire community. And that made a difference. That prevented kids from making poor decisions. Now you have kids that are curse out grown-ups, and you have kids that's going to twerk while the men and the women are watching, and there's no fear of when I tell your mom or when I tell your dad, or me snatching you up myself. And I feel like, we need that back.
Absolutely.
That's destroying our communities. But yes, my dad and my parents, I don't want to take away from my parents, because without my mother, a lot of things that my father did would not have been able to take place. So my parents, we would go to Wisconsin Dells, and we would take
we did.
kids from the community. I have right now friends and cousins that grew up in the Englewood community with me that people don't know whose blood and who's not, because I was not raised that way. And we took, my family took the entire community, whoever parents were willing to go with us on vacations and exposing them to things and places that they may not have ever experienced without, a outside family taking them in. So
the experiences of you growing up in Englewood plays a major role of the woman that you are today.
Absolutely.
It seems like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it seems like you didn't really have, like, you grew up with stuff coming up, in a sense. How you making it, because you talking about your father and how you went on these trips. And I'm not saying, everybody go without at times. I'm just saying, because it's rocky times. It's rocky times. But I'm saying is sometimes everybody experiencing the hood. Sometimes I know people that just literally they never had nothing.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Some people just never had nothing. Like how you said, your father gave that daughter gave that little girl some shoes. And he asked you, like, how many, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's like, it seems like, I ain't gonna say it was all good in the hood, because it's never good in the hood, but it seemed like it wasn't so bad at certain times for you in the hood.
You don't have to, you don't have to tiptoe around it, because I'm happy to acknowledge the fact that my childhood, and let's get it clear, like you said, like I experienced my fair share of trauma. I experienced my fair share of, direct and indirect exposure to gun violence, to gangs, to, I'm a very relatable woman, because I've experienced some things, and I have lived on my own for an extended period of time. So unfortunately, the fairy tale sometimes not so much fairy tale, because even when we talk about Cinderella, while the dress was beautiful, when the clock struck a certain time, everything
Right.
you know
It went
went
away.
back to where it was in its original state, which was rags. So there was rags, there were riches, but what you stated was a part of the most important thing, which was my experience in the family life. So being blessed to have a mom and a dad, being blessed to have grandparents, being blessed to have community, siblings. I have a lot of siblings, and my siblings mean the world to me. And that was a part of the rich experience, having honorary uncles and those who stayed loyal and stayed down and did not, turn into snakes or violators when what was once glitter turned into something different. Yeah. So I've had my fair share of everything, the good, the bad, but I will say that I did not grow up as a child not able to eat.
Got you.
I will not say, and when I speak on my experiences, I'm not going to minimize my experiences, but I am truly blessed, and I know that it could have always been a lot worse. But I will say there was a terrible turning point in my life that led me, and after that, I lived on my own. So I have experienced homelessness. I have been a victim of sexual abuse.
Oh, man.
I have, and many women have. And for a long period in my life, I didn't speak on it. And
I'm
the
sorry
reason,
to hear that.
and thank you for that.
Because I got a daughter.
Yeah, and protect her. Protect her. See, and that's it too. And I am going to say this on every platform and anytime I get, speak up. Protect the women. Protect the children. Do not stay friends and be friend and hide and shelter the uncles, the granddaddies, the neighbors that indulge in these type of behaviors, because that's one thing that I can say. In the past, sometimes there was too much hush-hush. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily in my house, but there was too much hush-hush, and we need to bring that to an end. And when I speak on that, I'm not saying that because I want sympathy, because guess what? That's part of what motivated me to get into mental health. Right. I'm here to advocate and say, women, surround yourself with positive people, to be open to therapy so that you can move past it. And the reason that I'm willing to share my experiences, because I've suffered with depression. I've suffered with suicidal ideation. And I'm willing to sit here, cameras rolling, Facebook Live, whatever's going on. And I'm willing to speak on these things because they are things that we experience too often as women, and we're ashamed to speak on them, which is okay. Right. But I want to encourage people to get help, because if you allow them to continue to haunt you and hinder you, then you'll never make it to where it is that you're going. Yeah, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. I'm not able to stand here this brave, this courageous, without addressing what happened to me and going through and addressing my mental and emotional health to heal through my terrible experiences. And that makes me a wonderful advocate, and that makes me a wonderful woman to work with others in the community, because I've been through some shit.
So had going through the things that you've been through, right? And now that you've grown and healed and got therapy and things like that, at a point in your life, did it hinder you?
Absolutely.
What was that like?
It was like, what's the stereotype? I don't use it, so you all may have to help me. Angry black woman. A lot of people say angry black woman, or.
So you had it on your sleeve, in a sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was, guarded, angry. There's different versions of you, and any woman that wake up every day and man, any human, because we're not going to limit my experiences to women. Right. Yeah. These are the experiences of many males as well. And I want to encourage them. And I want to say, black men, your mental health matters as well. Yeah. Be brave. Be courageous. Utilize your resources. Consider therapy. Consider the circle that's around you. For too long, we have masked our problems with alcohol, with marijuana, and things elevate to other drugs and the pill popping and stuff like that. Cocaine. Yeah. Too often. It's time for us to address our mental health. And it's time for us to do it with pride. It's time for us to smile. It's time for us to tell our friends. It's time for us to tell our cousins. It's time for us to say, hey, look, every time I talk to you, it's dark. Because I see the light inside of you. Yeah. we're going to do something about it to bring that light out.
Facts.
And get them a therapist that you can recommend. I became a therapist based off my experience. Everything that you see and hear of me doing is based off personal experiences.
So we're going to start this off like this, okay? I know you're a doctor. Well, PhD, right?
I have a PhD.
PhD,
yes.
okay. We're going to start it off, okay. You start off as a therapist first before all of this? Or
I did not. I started off as a teacher.
As a teacher. So
Yes.
let's talk about, so the teacher on to what you're doing now. Let's, like, you know,
Okay.
how did it start? Like, you know.
Okay, so
Don't mind me
I'm gonna
asking.
tell you a little bit about my journey. So during high school, my last 2 years of high school, I lived independently.
Okay.
No parents.
And it's high school?
No, in high school, yes.
High
yes.
school, okay.
My junior and senior year of high school, I lived independently. I want to make sure that I acknowledge that part of that was because of some choices that I made, but part of that was because of some experiences that I was not brave enough to talk about during that time.
Gotcha.
So I experienced some things that I didn't talk to my family about. I wasn't as, courageous, healed, or outspoken. I was ashamed of some of the things that happened to me or things that happened during my teenage years. And a lot of the structure and some of the people that I needed were taken away from me, whether that was through incarceration or, passing away. And that led to, one thing led to another. So my junior and senior year, I lived on my own. I made some poor decisions during that time. So again, I don't sit here, oh, look at me, I'm Dr. Domynique, I have it all figured out, my life is perfect. No, I have had my fair share of poor decision making. I've had my run-ins with the law, I'm human. That's the reality. I was a teenage girl with no parents around, no grandparents that I was under the roof or guidance of during this time. So I made my fair share of poor decision making. However, the foundation, and that's what I want to talk about, because I have teenage children, and sometimes, baby, they stray. But the foundation, and I steered to that foundation. And earlier in this conversation, I talked about how my parents pushed for education. So despite my crazy decision making, despite my wrong path that I was on, I always found my way to that foundation. And after running the streets with some of the people that you named and making some poor decisions, I still knew what I was supposed to do. And I went to Tennessee State for college.
That's dope.
And I knew if I didn't know anything else, so growing up in Englewood, I'm going to be honest, I saw some women, I saw some behaviors, I saw some men, I saw some things that I didn't want to be.
Right.
I saw some things that I wanted to be, but I saw more of what I didn't want to be, and I used that as motivation. I knew that education was my key to success. I went to Tennessee State. After Tennessee State, I continued on with my education. I got a master's in social work. Then, many years later, I went back to school. So I just continued to further my education because I knew that was the key to success. I started off as a high school teacher, but as a high school teacher, being in that environment, also teaching at the very school that I lived at during high school where I experienced homelessness. I slept in my school before.
Jeez.
I slept in my school. I'm not saying that for sympathy. What I'm saying is when you walk through these houses, you never know what a kid is going through.
Facts.
You never know what happens when the last bell rings.
Facts.
That motivated me. I knew as a teacher, my responsibility was to give the Common Core curriculum and teach this to kids. And I knew that I had to do something deeper. And that's where my calling to go back and to become a social worker came in.
Oh, so teacher to a social worker. So now, we're going to keep it going. This is about you. This is about you.
So then I was just on a journey to further my education and to further my personal journey. So then I went back and I got my PhD in philosophy with a concentration of theology. And I just wanted to add that to my social work credentials, in addition to diving deeper on my personal journey of spirituality and just growth, and just put it all together. And I started to run, or I enhanced what it was that I was doing with Empower Urban Communities, which is a nonprofit organization that I have. And I started to work independently. I was then hired by another organization, the House of James, in order to oversee their reintegration program as well as their violence prevention program and to bring in those mental health services.
Gotcha.
So again, just all of my experiences would just push me back to school, back to an additional career, back to, additional certifications that I need. I'm a social emotional doula. I'm a yoga instructor. And people are like, well, how can you do this, and this? I have to do this, and this because we have to address the whole person.
Yeah,
For
We
sure.
have to address holistically. And that's why I have such a diverse background and so many different, educational experiences to make me eligible to take my experiences and mix it with my education and take it to my communities.
So
facts. They got a ceasefire, I think, in Englewood too. If you're familiar with that,
Very much so. I work with T.O. Hartman.
Gotcha.
I go into the Cook County Jail.
pardon me too.
no, you
No, you're
good.
fine. I go into the Cook County Jail in order
Okay.
to provide mental health services for individuals
I
that
salute that.
will return to the community soon in order to help encourage them to start their mental health there and to address it on a deeper level when they return home, because we want to make sure that they are able to be conductive citizens when they return and not have to return back to prison or jail. And the way to do that is to, again, address the entire person.
Gotcha.
Thanks. So let's rewind. Let's go back a little bit. Let's go back because I want to first acknowledge your growth. Okay, you've grown into this beautiful woman, this educated woman, mother, wife, and let's go back to where we started as kids, beating down the streets. I mean, we was in every club, popping every bottle. We was with, I was with some celebrities, but I don't think I topped yours. Okay, you was with them all. You was Keisha Kior.
Who?
Was it Yo Gotti?
Yo, Gotti.
He,
See, he know what he know.
Lonnie Pop was there. Who else was there?
You was in them spots.
Man,
Back in the day.
Man, look, you was the life of the party. Like, I mean, everywhere. So to see you go from the spotlight, like what made you kind of backtrack?
I bet you weren't around no Gucci or nothing.
What? Come on, man.
What?
It wasn't like what?
No Gucci.
Man, look.
You talking Gucci, man?
Yeah. You was around
I'm
Gucci.
talking not the new one.
I'm talking about the
Not
old
the
I'm
Gucci.
clone.
talking about the I'm talking about the old Gucci.
Yeah, the Gucci that we all
Bricks.
know.
Stop.
Bricks.
Stop it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say this: wonderful experience, and when you say you was in the spotlight, and that's a true statement. I was in the spotlight, and I did. I got those calls. I want to give clarity so no one misinterprets. I was never a video vixen. I never dated any of these individuals. I've just always been a highly respected young woman. Going to Tennessee State opened up the door to certain relationships and exposure. And I ran into, some down south artists. And because I have a great personality and because Chicago, y'all know, Chicago. Everybody loves Chicago, right?
Facts.
So that's where a lot of those relationships were built as well.
Gotcha.
So when they came to Chicago, they calling me up.
Right,
They want to know where to go. We at the factory.
you at the
we
spots.
hitting the different
Adriana's,
spots.
whatever.
Adriana.
Exactly. Shout out to Let's Play.
Yeah.
Shout out to Let's Play. Now we're kicking it at the Let's Chill venue and grill nowadays, and that's keywords. Let's chill.
What you know about
Because,
play, man? What you know about play, man? What you know about that, man? No, I'm just talking. That's my area. I'm from the
Really?
burbs, so y'all
Okay.
from the city, but I know all about that.
Okay,
play,
so
man.
we'll talk about that economic development and me as an entrepreneur a little later.
Oh,
but
yeah?
absolutely. My husband
You
and
got
I
parts
own
in that?
Club Let's Play.
Oh,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I may know who he is. I may have seen him before.
Okay,
so.
yes. My husband King is a wonderful man who
I don't know.
exposed and encouraged me in entrepreneurship. But I want to make sure that I deeply address your question. So when we talk about those celebrities that I enjoyed, my younger years with, when you're in college and when you are a young adult, you live, you party, you dance, these, popular songs and dances, you indulge in them. However, I became a mother, and when I became a mother, I knew that the role models and the people that I wanted to surround myself with and what I would like to see my children surround themselves with, no negativity towards anyone that we named, but I knew that's not the role model figures that I wanted, and that was not the role model that I want to be. Okay. So although I'm not in that spotlight anymore, I'm in my own spotlight of doing and being who and what I was created to do and be, and to bring the spotlight to places such as political figures, right?
Yeah.
So I want the young women to know, because let's be real, who knew what a clerk was? Who knew what a clerk was? Which one of you all knew what a clerk was in your younger years?
Nah. Shit, I think my sister a clerk at the post office. Clerk. I'm just, I gotta, I'm just being honest. She right. I didn't know nothing about no damn clerk.
All the women. Who knew?
Like, you just probably knew about the mayor, if that.
Yeah, it's just like you was a mayor, you nothing. Like there's a president, a mayor, or some shit. Like we coming up like that.
What are the responsibilities of these? Exactly, and that's it.
Yeah,
so a part of my responsibility is to remove the ignorance, right?
Facts.
A part of my responsibility is to use who I am and the platform that I have, and my ability to reach younger people, my ability to reach even my age group, whether that's men or women. Some of them may know me and remember me from my younger years and the fun and the nightlife and stuff like that. But most of them may have been introduced to me through that, but now they get to see this side of me, and I'm able to engage in important conversations like the ones that you and I have when the cameras aren't running about who's doing what in your community, who's responsible for what, me getting on the phone and contacting Springfield, me sending those emails in order to make sure things are being done. I'm out here on a mission. I'm out here on a mission to make sure that people know, hey, you don't like the parks in your community? We can sit and we can talk about it.
Right.
But what's that going to do? This is who's responsible for that. I want you to charge them, and I want you to hold them accountable for what it is that they're supposed to be doing. So my spotlight and my platform just have moved. So instead of people calling me up to say, hey, what's popping tonight? People calling me up and emailing me up to say, hey, what resources do we have? Hey, who's responsible for this? Hey, how can you assist me with this? Yeah. And that's what gives me life, because now I'm doing what I was called to do. Yes. I'm doing what I was created to do. It's cool to be known. It's cool for people to see you. But what do they really want from you?
Exactly.
Energy.
That's what they want now. But then they wanted a different type of energy, which was a party energy.
Yeah, your
like
presence,
you said, we popping
They don't
bottles,
realize your growth.
dancing.
They don't realize your growth.
Now people get to be exposed to a different version of me, and I'm able to contribute something far more valuable to their lives, to their children's lives, to their spouses' lives, versus a wonderful, night out where we made great memories, standing
drinking,
on couches,
looking crazy,
doing things that can destroy our bodies.
Facts.
Now
Facts.
I'm a yoga instructor. I teach about mindfulness. I teach about stretching. I teach about health. So it's not just the mental health segment, it's the actual physical health. Gotcha. I sit on boards and I work and I advocate for Black maternal health and policy in regards to that. So, I'm just growing and taking off and doing what it is that I'm supposed to do in a different field that's far more valuable than anything that I could have contributed to fun, nightlife, Englewood, streets. I'm really doing what it is that God called me to do, and I love it.
I see
love
it.
here.
Yeah,
I see it.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like once you reach a certain age, like you said, when you became a mother, you reach a certain age and you become mature. You realize that you have to you got to take a different road, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't want them going down that road. You learn from those mistakes and learn from those choices that you made.
Absolutely.
So therefore you can guide them on a different path as well. So what I really want to jump into is come on, cuz. Like, I never, politics, you know what I'm saying? Like, to see you on this billboard here, to see people,
dope as hell.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you got posters in people's yards. You out here pushing a campaign for Clerk of Burham. Why?
So I'm going to start with the craziest statement. I am not a politician. And I know that's why you asking me this question, because I am not a politician. But you know what I am?
What?
I'm a parent.
There you go.
And I care. I care how the parks look in my community. I'm a parent. I care what's going on at the schools.
Facts.
I care what's being poured into the schools. I'm a taxpayer.
Yeah.
So I care where my money go.
Yeah.
I'm a business owner. I care. And I don't want to be extorted. And I don't want people using me, and I don't want people trying to bully me, and I don't want people doing it to my neighbor, and I don't want people doing it to my peers, and I don't want people doing it to others who are interested in getting into businesses, no matter what kind of business it is. I don't want them to feel as if they have to be a puppet or they have to pad the pockets of political figures in order to receive their business license.
That's dope.
In order to not have their liquor licenses stripped away from them.
Listen, one thing I know about Englewood people, and they ain't going for no extortion.
Exactly. but when we talk about other communities, you know, it happens, and it's happening.
Yeah, you're right.
And it has happened to me.
Facts.
And that's why I'm determined. And that's why it's not about being a politician. See, to me, a lot of people that are politicians, this is generation to generation, or this is just some ego that they're thriving off of, these powers and these titles and stuff. That don't matter. I'm really here to do the job, because guess what? Without this title, I put in work, as you all know.
Yeah, for sure.
So imagine with this position as an elected official, how many resources I'll have access to. Yeah. Imagine how loud my voice will be in Springfield, in meetings with my neighbors, in order to make sure that their voices are heard. I'm the voice of the people.
Thanks.
I speak my part, but I speak for the people. Yeah. Because as I told you, I had experiences, but right now, a lot of those experiences are of my past. I'm blessed to be in a happy, healthy position. But what about my people?
Facts.
I can never forget about them. I'll never neglect them. I'll never turn my back, and I'll never not advocate for them. There's so much work to be done. We've come far, but there's so much work to be done. Shout out to the many women that are in these political positions. I know great women in political positions. There's some great men in political positions. But I will say that I know that I deserve to join them because of my passion, because of my experience, because of my education, and because it's a way for me to do what it is that God created me to do.
Now, I'm glad, I'm not to cut you off, but I just want to jump. Now, what you said is definitely impactful. No question. But I also see the stigma that's going around, like now, with all of the different things that have happened in the past months. How does that affect, how does your past, how does the people that misrepresented, you know, that position affect you, or how has that been hindering you? Like, do you have people out here that's bashing you, trying to take away from you, or tell you that they don't trust you, or they don't believe in what you're trying to do because of their bad experience? You know what I'm saying? How can you win the trust of the people with what you're trying to do?
Because that was a wonderful question, and I'm happy that you knew that that's probably taking place, and it absolutely is. I am oftentimes compared to other black young politicians who are not favorable, or who made poor decisions, or, you know, and I don't really, I don't like to speak on other people. But what I will say is that I'm here to do what I was created to do. Anyone who checks my track record, they know that without a political desire, without a political platform, that I have served as the voice of the people, that I have served and I have worked hard in order to create transparency for us to be able to have knowledge, access to what's going on in our communities, what's being done with our money. So it's important for people to lean into their gifts. I don't want to get religious, but people have to use discernment. And if they're not capable of that, then that's unfortunate. You cannot look at me and say, which people do. When I'm out door knocking and I'm communicating with my community, people often say, we lost faith in young black women after. And I say, hey, all I can tell you is who I am. Mm-hmm. All I can ask you to do is to check my record. Please don't compare me. And I tell them that, please don't compare me to others, because we are all individuals. We are all created individually. Our missions, our goals, and what we're aligned with is not that of others just because we have the same, background. Because our background isn't the same. So let me not even say that. Because we have the same character. Exactly. Yeah, just because we're black and young. The reality is the backgrounds aren't necessarily the same. I can't speak on anyone else's background, but what I'm going to say is I am highly educated. I am blessed to have a wonderful family structure. I come from a mother and a father, as well as being blessed to be a married woman. Yes, I did my time, and I was a single mother with twins. I am not ashamed of that. I like to speak on that because guess what? It speaks to my passion to help single mothers and single fathers because I know that struggle all too well. Judge me for me. Do not categorize me with other people if my actions are not similar to theirs. Do not say I'm not voting because I've been scarred by this person. You've been to a restaurant that didn't serve you good food. It didn't stop you from trying another restaurant.
That's ooh.
You had a car that didn't last long. It didn't stop you from buying another one. Please don't give me excuses as to why you won't utilize your right to vote.
I felt that.
That's
deep.
Too. That's very deep.
Our ancestors went through too much for you to not utilize your right to vote. You can't complain and nag and talk if you're not going to utilize your right. I'm asking for them to open up the door. Open up the door for me to go and do the hard work. I'm not asking you to write your legislators in Springfield. I'm asking you to put me in a place to be on a higher level to be able to communicate with them from a level playing field because I'm going to communicate with them on your behalf, on my behalf, and on the behalf of all who come my way in order to push for it to take place.
The strong boss mentality.
That's
that
dope.
You got.
That's dope, man. Like you giving me chills over here because it's like
I was saying like.
I feel
the
it,
strong
man.
boss mentality that you got going on right now, like, is that from a father or is that from a mother or both?
That come from my parents.
Come from both.
I come from very strong parents. I come from very resilient. That's the main word that I want to use when describing my parents. I come from very resilient parents. Those who know my backstory and those who know the tears in certain relationships may be surprised to hear me speak on it because I don't talk as much as I probably could and should about my parents. Shout out to my parents. I love my parents. I appreciate them no matter what we've gone through, no matter what, hardships. And that's another reason why I push for mental health. And that's another reason why I push for counseling. And that's another reason why I push for the many things, because a lot of relationships that aren't healthy don't have to be unhealthy. Mm-hmm. But when you have mental health and when you have emotional and when you have trauma that individuals have not healed from, it happens. It's naturally going to take place. So we have to continue to push for therapy. We have to continue to push for conflict resolution. So I do something called co-parenting peace circles. Free of charge, with security. Let me repeat that.
You gotta have security.
Listen,
me and my baby mama coming down. No, I'm just
heavy on the security. I don't do co-parenting peace circles without security.
That's dope.
But I understand the emotions that come behind it.
Yeah.
But I like to create a space where the woman or the man are able to talk. Yeah. So that we can remove the barriers and we can address the emotional part that's preventing them from being able to co-parent in a healthy manner focused on the best interests of the child. People say, well, you can't worry about this and you got to let this go. Until those individuals get a chance to speak their piece and heal from it, the blockage is going to continue to exist.
Well, you know what? I feel like the one real thing about co-parenting, though, and you may agree to this and you may agree to this, though, co-parent only works when y'all don't want each other no more. That's how I feel like.
I feel
when you truly don't want a person no more.
Yeah, because it could have some bitterness.
Think about it though.
Tension, or that person.
If I don't want you, nothing that you do in your personal time bothers me. I just want to deal with my kids.
Yeah. Co-parenting is only hard when you're worried about the other parent instead of your child.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, you just said that.
Absolutely.
And I feel like a big thing with a lot of relationships, not just co-parenting, but what you said about parents not having relationship with their kids, siblings not having relationship, is really communication. Not knowing how to properly communicate ruins a lot of relationships.
Facts.
Because of misunderstanding.
I agree, but I want to address one other thing, because what you said was a valid point, but I do want to say just not having an opportunity to heal is also a reason, because oftentimes a woman doesn't necessarily want their child father back. But they want an apology. They want appreciation for the long nights and a sacrifice that they give in order to not only carry and birth your child, but to raise your child day after day. They want you to appreciate them the same way that you would want someone to appreciate your mother. So it's not always that other parent wants that other mate. They want to be, and they deserve to be appreciated. They want to have a partnership with you in raising that child. Imagine as a woman, this child has that man's last name, but you're not supposed to text him at 2 o'clock in the morning or call him at 2 o'clock in the morning because it may upset his spouse.
I got a great question for you.
It's crazy.
You being the woman that you are, I could tell you're very strong. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is a particular situation, right? No, it's nothing funny. I swear to God. I ain't even doing it. I'm keeping. No.
About how you're resistant.
How do you feel
and
about?
hesitant.
Do you feel like, because it could have been a situation where I'm going through something, right? Whereas a person I may have kids by felt like, well, at the end of the day, you still a good father, but you ain't treat me like how you treat her.
So I'm clear. Are you stating that the mother of the child is seeking the same treatment that you?
No, what I mean is they low key kind of tight because you was a better man to another female, opposed to being a better man to them, but they got your kids. Do you feel like, in a sense, that they keep resentment on their back?
Absolutely.
So it don't matter, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you let them, they go do they have more kids, this, that, and the third. They see you winning with somebody else and they still feel away. Why is that?
So I think it goes back to what I discussed just a few minutes ago.
I'm just saying. No, you know what? Let me know.
We're not going to run away from it. As you stated, this individual has moved on with their life.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that whether they did or did not, I'm sure that the relationship could be healthier and that they could heal better and release some of that resentment by you acknowledging what you could have done different, showing appreciation to them as the mother of your child, and continuing to live your life. There's a way to set boundaries. See, that's the problem, and that we gonna come back and talk about that another time because that's a deep conversation. But there's a way to set boundaries and still be great to the mother of your child or the father of your child, and that's absolutely necessary. That's missing from this community. We have this mindset of you not with them anymore. F her. It's all about your child. Let me tell you something. Whatever parent has that child, most of the time, whatever that parent experience, it directly affects your child. So you have to be with the spouse. I'm only going to be with the spouse who wants what's best for my child. So you shouldn't call this late. You shouldn't do the baby stop crying because it's late.
You got a sense. You know what, in a sense, you know what, we can't. We really can't because it's like different strokes and it, like, okay.
I'm going to cut you off and I'm going to say this.
That's cool.
One stroke that men and boundary that men have to set is not allowing their mate to interfere with their relationship with the child, with the mother of their child.
Oh, that never happened.
This woman is the mother of my child, and I'm going to give her the best version of me based off the circumstances. That does not mean that I'm going to be intimate with her. These insecurities that the new mate have are a big part of the problem. So some fathers are tiptoeing on being a great father and great to the mother of their child because they don't want to upset their partner. True. But as a woman, especially if you with a woman who have children, even if it's by someone else, it's imperative for her to understand and for her to be understanding and respect and push you to have a healthy relationship with the mother of your child.
I agree.
What if you send them money every week?
Oh, it ain't about the money.
No, I'm just saying. No.
We gonna talk about this another time because listen.
No. I'm saying this. What if a father, he doing his due diligence with his kids? He's spending all.
What's due diligence? See, that's what I'm saying. That's why we got to talk about this. Because you got it. I need the details.
Okay, what if one? Okay, let's say you got two kids by one particular person. It's the same woman. Let's say one of the kids live with the father. One of the kids live with this particular person, and the father is doing. He giving money. He not giving you a hard time. You know what I'm saying? He's taking care of both his kids and giving you whatever you want in a sense. And this lady, not saying you, still giving this man a hard time.
I don't think he was listening to to what I said in the beginning of this topic.
Though.
Now let's go back. Mental health
Facts.
emotional healing from trauma. Whatever you all experienced while she was pregnant, while the babies were young, whether you left her, she left you, whatever led to the current circumstances, healing from that. That's why I do these co-parenting peace circles, because the reality is the peace circle, and that's why I have to have security. It's not about the co-parenting piece. It's really about the trauma between the two parents that's preventing them from co-parenting in a healthy way. What if I stabbed you right now?
You going
Hold
to
on.
jail?
I'm
No,
going to
just
jail.
talking.
Nah, you're right. I'm going to jail. But if I stabbed you right now,
I wouldn't tell.
and 7 years from now,
Yeah.
I'm smiling and I'm being nice to you. 7 months from now, I'm
still remember
smiling
you
and
stabbed
you're
me.
going to still remember I stabbed. So men want women to forget that I carried your child for 9 months. You probably cheated on me during those 9 months. I laid on the table when I pushed your child out. You may have been at the hospital. You might not have. We took this baby, or I took this baby home, and you probably went to another home. While my body was still open and still bleeding, you were at the club partying. You were with the new woman. 6 months later, I got a 6-month-old and I can't sleep and I'm rocking this baby and I'm going through all of these different changes because we decided, 9 out of 10, we decided to have this baby. We decided because neither of us protected ourselves, even if we didn't have a verbal agreement. Your life goes on. My life can't go on the same way. Even if you get the baby 2 or 3 times occasionally out the week, my life cannot go on the same. I cannot go to school the same. My body is not built the same. My mental and my emotional is not the same. My ability to date is not the same. Yours is. My freedom to go to school is not the same. Yours is. So when people act like these women just have resentment and they're angry with these men who they've reproduced with for no reason, it's a lot of reasons. The baby mama, baby daddy title alone disturbs me. But that's why I said we'll talk about it another time, because guess what? It's a topic that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, we definitely
We
gonna have
definitely,
to
because
bring
we
it back,
ain't got no
that's
time for
in
that.
depth for sure.
my particular, let's just say my particular situation has nothing to do with me being in no club. Like I stand on business, and I'm a person. I got my own. I got cars. I got cribs. And I take care of my kids. I spend time with my kids. This, that, and the third, and I get money. So it's like.
So that's why the therapeutic circle. So I don't call it therapy.
Yeah.
I call it co-parenting peace circles, because for one, we run from therapy.
Got you.
Yeah.
And for two, because
like
if
therapy.
you in a new relationship with somebody, they're gonna be like, "How the hell you going to therapy with your baby? What, your baby daddy or your baby mama?"
Yeah.
And that's why we have to start by correcting them. Fill in the blank with their name is the mother of my child.
Right.
I'm glad you said that because I never like the B-N word. I don't like it. I always say the mother of my children because it's just a form of respect. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if we see eye to eye, still the fact that's the mother. Like, you wouldn't want your kids running around calling their mama. That's my calling their mama their government name. You see what I'm saying? Like, or they father their government name. But you said something that stood out just now, that people run from therapy. Why? Why do you feel like, being in your field, why do you feel people run from therapy? Why do you think people afraid of therapy? Or,
I think a lot of people are afraid of therapy or uncomfortable with therapy because of the stigmas that have been placed, because of the bad talk, because I love it. We are living in a time where the door is starting to become open, where conversations are being had, where therapy is being accepted amongst people without judgment. And I want us to continue to move in that direction. However, some people run from it because their only experience with it may have taken place, for instance, in jail, because the things that they hear about it is oftentimes negative, because a lot of people walk in the door and they start therapy, and once those skeletons start coming out of the closet and you start out and you're pulling back the layers and you're talking about the hurtful things, if you don't continue through that process to get to the shiny a rainbow, in the sunshine, you're talking about the storm, then you may be feeling the pieces of the storm until you're able to heal and get through that process with that therapist. Sometimes people just have the wrong therapist. So let's talk about and address, like you said, some people run from therapy. A lot of people run from therapy, but guess what? As soon as something happens, what's one of the first things they do?
Yeah.
They calling somebody up. They pulling up on somebody to talk to them. That person don't necessarily have good advice.
Or care.
or care.
truly
That person throwing your business out to others.
Yeah.
That person giving bad advice. How many times people tell you, oh, F her, F him. Oh, I would have slapped them. Or all of this crazy stuff that would cause you to have negative consequences.
Yeah.
What's wrong with going and sit? What we doing right now?
Yeah.
We sitting on the couch. We kick back on the couch in an untraditional therapeutic setting. I don't do traditional couch therapy.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that I'm a licensed therapist.
Right.
I'm a licensed clinical social worker, to be specific. A lot of people don't know this because I don't do couch therapy. I do untraditional therapy because I don't want people to feel guarded.
Yeah.
I don't want people to feel judged, and I want people to give it to me raw. In regular conversations, people will tell you everything. You call it therapy, and they freeze up.
Yeah. It's just that word. That's trigger.
You talking
Trigger
about raw?
words. No.
Therapy.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm done. I'm done with
So
this, man.
before we get out of here,
I didn't mean to
you
say
know, I want to know. I want to know, but I'm sure your community and the people that may have doubts and things about you, what makes you a good candidate for clerk? What makes you different from all of the people that they comparing you to?
Perfect.
What makes you the one?
What makes me different and the perfect candidate for Village Clerk of Burham is my educational experience, my personal life experiences, my dedication, which consists of over a decade, at my age, over a decade of dedication to community service, dedication to mental health, dedication to securing resources. Those factors matter. My ability to successfully run businesses, the dedication, not running away when things get challenging. My ability to stay committed in whatever it is that I invest myself into. People say, oh, you have a PhD, so you smart. I am. Many people are smart. It's not my intelligence that set me aside to get the PhD. It's my dedication and my discipline. Don't get me wrong. It's hard work and I'm educated. But many of us are. We're just not willing to be devoted to things. We're not willing to sacrifice to get what we want. But I've proven over and over again that despite whatever is placed in front of me, I continue to press until I reach the goal. That's the type of person that I would like to have as an elected official in my community, because if I know that they've gone this hard for themselves and they go this hard for their neighbors and they go this hard for strangers, that's the perfect representation.
So do you think your experience and your relatability make you even more of a
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? Someone who hasn't gone through anything can't talk to me about things, right? So I have plenty of peers that are social workers and plenty of peers that, you know, I've gone to school with and that I've worked with, teachers, and you can't talk to me about homelessness if you've never experienced it. You can't talk to me about how I should heal from something that was done to me when I was 12 years old that I may still have nightmares about because you think that it's time for me to get over it and you've never experienced it.
Yeah.
You can't talk to me about being hungry and you've never been hungry. You can't talk to me about gun violence and you've never experienced
gunshot or nothing.
Yeah.
You get so absolutely my experience of being a single mother, my experience of, you know, maybe being in a holding cell or something before. You know, I know. Because it doesn't matter where I am.
Don't judge.
Officials are supposed to treat you in a certain manner. So my experience, and that's why I bravely walk into the Cook County jails in order to provide services for individuals that are there, because guess what? They deserve a second chance. They deserve exposure to the things that will prevent them from re-offending, and I'm a firm believer in that. Everything that I do, you know, and you know, I do things with passion.
Yeah.
If I can't be passionate and dedicated, I want no parts of it.
Right.
That's what makes me a wonderful candidate. You get what you see with me. Like you said, I carry the energy that I have wherever I go because it don't come from me. It come from God. I go in places and spaces and I make them feel better no matter how they may look.
Yeah.
Because it's about what you bring. And that brings things out of other people. I've been blessed to be able to bring greatness out of others.
So one I gotta ask this because for people that may not know you, that may think this is a facade,
Oh no.
What would you to people that may not know you and know yo, you know what I'm saying? They definitely hear what you saying. But for the ones that ain't hearing you in the back, that may think this is a facade you putting on just to get in this seat or get in this position, what would you say to them?
Check my track record. Check my track record. It speaks for itself. You can't do the things that I do without it being passion. Teachers don't make a lot of money. You're not going to dedicate yourself to education for free. When I had very little, I was providing free services through Empower Urban Communities. And anyone who know me know that. My husband invested into Empower Urban Communities and helped fund 80% of the give backs and the tangible items that I've given through this organization over the past 10 years. He funded most of those, or I funded them myself with my baby teacher check, because we're passionate and dedicated about what it is that we do. And that you have to be dedicated. You can't put on a facade. You can't fake who I am. That's the reality. You can't fake who I am, because I've been doing it for so long. With time, who you really are comes to show. Yeah. So you check my track record. You go back. You go to Englewood. You go to Thornwood High School. You go and you talk to the kids, the families, the residents, and you ask them, what was I about back then? So with time, if my education get better, my healing get better, my experiences grow, then guess what? All I can do is become better. There's no facade with me. You get what you see. And that's what I think some people like about me, because I don't know how to fake. I'm highly educated, but I don't walk around faking like I'm holier than thou, or faking as if my educational experience put me on a platform higher. Everything that I have, God pushed me to go get, so I can go back and I can save some lives, and I can encourage, and I can bring some of the people that experience the exact same things that I experienced. You can't fake that.
Yeah.
No, that's right.
That's true. I've seen you where we've lost people, and you was front and center to try to help, people that was grieving and people that was going through these things. Because, like you say, growing up, we've seen a lot of death, we've seen a lot of trauma, we've seen these things, and that's what we use this platform for, to try to reach out to these children and reach out to these people that think that this is the way. Like, you impressing people that don't care. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You putting on this show, and I'm proud of you. I salute you for what you're doing. We thank you for coming on this platform.
Seriously, man.
And enlightening us.
The pleasure is mine. The pleasure is mine.
So before we get out of here, we gotta ask your opinion on this question.
Okay.
Okay, it's gonna be two questions. Shout out to our brother DA that couldn't be here today. You know what I'm saying? We holding it down.
He at the crib, playing with his nose, whatever he doing.
So we went viral for this clip when the question was asked, would we take a woman back if we found out she was cheating? And we got some women saying a lot of different things. So would you take your husband back if you found out that he was cheating?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I say that as the woman I am today. As a girl, I allowed men to cheat on me. I did. It's unfortunate, but I see the value in myself. My husband in particular is a very disciplined man. He's vegan. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
if you can be disciplined in those areas, then guess what? I expect you to carry that same level of discipline, loyalty. I expect for you to, and that doesn't mean that I don't have a level of understanding, but what I will say is I have to speak on myself. And just as dedicated and devoted as I am to the community, I am to my household. Yeah. So I take care of home. So that doesn't mean that would prevent a man from cheating or a boy from cheating. But it's my hope and my prayer that it would prevent my husband from cheating. So I do the best that I can in order to keep my husband satisfied in all areas.
Okay.
I'm a married woman.
Okay.
In all areas, to prevent him from feeling a need to cheat. I also try to keep the door open for all conversations, even those conversations that are unhealthy, so that I'm aware of any area that I lack or any personal experiences or needs that he may have, so that we can communicate about them in order to find out, hey, why do you even have this urge? When we talk about loyalty, I'm very big on loyalty. Growing up in Englewood, death before dishonor, baby.
There you go.
I'm very big on loyalty. So it's certain things you can't cross the grain. certain things are not accidents. And I'm not saying that to tell anybody else how to run their marriage, how to run their relationships, how to run anything. I'm just saying based off my experience, I come to learn the characteristics of cheaters are not those that are attached to someone who I can spend the rest of my life and obtain a level of greatness with. Because if you lack discipline of your body, where you feel a need to go and share it with others and compromise our marriage, our physical health, our emotional well-being, then what else are you willing to compromise? Are you gonna be what you say? Somebody was playing with their nose. Are you gonna turn to drugs? Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know what to expect out of you.
Yeah.
If I can't expect you to be loyal. And I know that there's oftentimes this stigma where, well, women should forgive men, but men shouldn't forgive women. Nah, it goes across the border. Nobody wants to share their partner
Nobody else.
with anyone else. The same level of being disgusted, the same way that a man will randomly, while watching TV, want to knock her head between the washing machine and dryer because they had a flashback of remembering that she cheated on him, are the same experiences that a woman experienced. And guess what? You want that woman cooking your food?
Hell no.
You want that woman taking care of your baby? You want to sleep next to that woman? That woman is hurting too. That woman doesn't want to be violated either. But I am going to say to those who listen, if you make that mistake, the bravest thing and the best thing you can do, make sure you check the area and make sure it's nothing hard around. But you want to communicate that with your spouse. You don't want him or her to find that out in the streets.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Thank you. Let the people know where they can follow you at, where they can get in tune, where they can support you, where they can.
Absolutely. So again, I am Dr. Domynique Jazmen Smith. I am running for village clerk in the village of Burnham. You can punch 4 Burnham residents, punch 4 for Smith. You can find out more about supporting my campaign and ways to join us by visiting www.dominiqueforclerk.com. Again, that's very simple, www.dominiqueforclerk.com. You can always get in tune with me at www.empoweruc. That's empower, traditional spelling, EMPOWERUC.org in order to get in tune with any of the services we provide. That's from record expungement, assistance with paperwork, help with finding resources for business owners. So we provide a lot of services, getting you connected with mental health resources, employment resources. Yes, like I said, you can't fake this. You can visit us on our website and get signed up for those free services. That's where you can find me, or you can catch me in Burnham, out in the community, doing what it is that I do, and that's engaging with my people in order to make sure that they have access to whatever it is that they may need for where they are today in order to help get them where they are going.
That's dope. Thank you so much for
Dope,
coming.
man.
Appreciate
you coming.
Pleasure.
Man.
That's
my
dope.
show.
That's dope.
Thank you all for having me.
Oh man, that shit was dope as hell.
Hey,